Hello, Craig.
Hello, Colin.
We are again continuing our MCU sprawl. We are on phase two, and this time we are continuing with Thor: The Dark World, which came after Iron Man 3 in the same year in 2013. And before we dive into everything, Craig, let's just note that this movie was not nearly as successful as Iron Man 3, and it kind of continued that trend of no one really liking Thor, the MCU Thor, I should say, in the MCU. So, Craig, just tell me real quick what you thought about it, and then we will dive into it. What'd you think of Thor: The Dark World, Craig? Tell me.
I did not like it.
Oh, okay. I did not like it either. I don't think I ever liked it. I don't think I ever will like it, if I'm being honest. Now, at the time when this came out, you don't really, unless you're older or maybe you're more into it, I don't remember really hearing about any behind the scenes drama. But lo and behold, Craig, when I go on Wikipedia to do my research for for these reviews every week, I saw something and it said Alan Taylor, the guy who directed it, and he's from Game of Thrones fame, which I've never really seen Game of Thrones. So I didn't know who he was before this. It said that there was a lot of changes that Marvel did during post production of the movie. Now, what those changes are, I don't know to the fullest extent, but he himself has said that he expressed dissatisfaction with the finished film and blamed its mixed reception on changes Marvel Studios made during post production, which he felt conflicted his creative vision. And he called it a particularly wrenching experience. And he said in 2021 that the experience made him hesitant to continue directing.
It's pretty harsh words.
Yeah. Did you hear about that too? Did you know anything about that?
Yes, because I know he mentioned. Well, first off, I want to talk about when they hired the guy. Because I remember when he was hired, a lot of people were super, super hyped for him. They thought he was going to take Marvel to the next level. They're saying, this guy did Game of Thrones. He must be a good director. He's going to make Marvel just like Game of Thrones. Because Game of Thrones was really big at the time. It's funny looking back how awful people don't remember Game of Thrones anymore. But this was his first, I think, blockbuster. People thought he was going to kill it, knock it out of the park. It's like, he did Game of Thrones. That's like Viking stuff. So it's going to be perfect. And he was not perfect for Thor.
Yeah, it seemed like I mean, ironically, Game of Thrones, the from what I've seen from just clips online, the look of it, I can see why maybe audiences were more, I guess, invested because it is kind of the same look that you would think a Thor movie would be. And I know when we did the first Thor movie, we criticized that it was too like sci-fi-y. I think of Thor as I always bring up when these Marvel reviews, Craig. Thor from Marvel Tin Lines, that aesthetic of Asgard, the Viking aesthetic with Asgard in space, kind of. That's what's always in my mind, and I guess shame on me for even as a kid expecting something like that. So I could see why people maybe were more like, oh, maybe we won't get flying buildings everywhere in Asgard or whatever.
But it wasn't just because of that.
Why? Because it's more serious, probably.
Yes, they thought he was going to make a super serial epic drama that was going to crush Game of Thrones. Maybe not crush Game of Thrones, but he thought, like those man children who get really insecure that they like comic book movies, so they want to have somebody make a movie for adults so they could sit there and say, look, I'm not watching something that's targeted for young adults or teenagers or kids. I'm watching an adult movie. They thought he was going to do that for them, and he failed miserably.
Well, no one knew at the time because it's 2013. Our
I
friend
know. I
Alan
just
Taylor also directed Terminator Genesis, which is arguably the worst Terminator movie, if anyone's ever seen it. It didn't do well at the box office. So it only went downhill for him, it seems. And then he directed, I had his IMDb up, he directed The Many Saints of Newark, which is a prequel to The Sopranos, and it was not very good. I didn't like the movie. It's a nothing movie, essentially. But was this the movie, Craig, the catalyst of his downfall for directing movies, I wonder?
I mean, you could probably go into a whole episode about Terminator Genesis. Didn't that have production issues as well?
I really don't know. I just remember not liking it.
I never saw it, but just looking at that, you can almost, we got the eye for it now. We can tell that must have had so many production issues.
Well, I think now the biggest issue with the MCU in 2013 versus now is that, like you said, back then they did a pretty good job at hiding some of the rush jobs, but now it's just Marvel's getting greedy with how much they can rush job, you know? So like before, a good amount they can hide it, but now because they keep rushing so much that they can't hide it and it just looks terrible these days, i.e. Doctor Strange.
Going, you're going to show the montage of all
And
the horrible
and
CGI.
God, what was it? Captain America that came out this year? Oh
Black
God.
Panther.
Black Panther, yes, the infamous fight in the mine shaft in the first movie. I think they said they'd done it in like 3 weeks. They had that much time. The poor VFX teams. I think it was DNEG, double negative.
But I'm going to disagree that it's their hubris. I think they are just so disorganized and not focusing on what's important because we keep making fun of the Doomsday production because, like, as we're doing this, we're getting like little hints here and there from the Doomsday production.
It finally wrapped a couple days ago as of this recording, Craig. Did you hear that?
I did, but all the actors kind of say the same thing where there was no real finished script and they don't know who they're filming with most of the time. And we probably said this before in previous episodes, but it just reminds you they're trying so hard to keep the production a secret. They are sabotaging their own production.
They're
I,
sabotaging the performances of the actors. And this is all speculation because maybe by the grace of God, Craig, maybe the performances are spot on and it's such a well acted movie and their Frankenstein approach will work. Who knows? But as of now, from our humble speculatory opinion, it's not going to work, probably.
well, it can work because they can throw enough money at it to fix it. The thing is, the fact they have to do that shows you it doesn't work. Like
Yes.
most
And
movies don't do this. That's why you know it doesn't work.
they just can't make up their mind. And now, Craig, all of us describing these issues, unless you have any other issues or at least other issues you know about this movie behind the scenes that you read about. Have you heard anything else?
Well, I know it's the
Because
guy's
some of
name,
it is
Christopher.
spoilers, and I'll deal with that when we're talking about it.
Well, I know the writers for this are Marcus and McFeely, the guy who did
Mm-hmm.
most of the Cat movies and I think of Infinity War.
Infinity War and Endgame.
They are credited as the writers, but they did not. Well, they did write it, but they said it went through so
They
many
were
different
surprised
writers'
they
hands.
were credited, essentially, is what they
Yes.
said.
So I know they're credited for, and people try to put it as like a mark against them for being involved with this movie, but who knows what they did and who knows what they took from it and who knows anything because
Well, how credit works usually for screenwriters is that if you write the general story and the structure of the script is yours, you will almost always get credit unless you relinquish it. Now, if you change a good amount, you still might not get credited because they favor structure and plot the most for credit. Even dialogue too, like doesn't really matter. They don't really what's it called? They don't take that into an account.
well, I mean, you know about this than me, but all I know is they said they were surprised, and I just feel that it went through so many people's hands that people want to hold it against them. I don't really think that's entirely fair,
And even
but
if
that
they
just
had total control, and it's one blemish. It's would
true.
you rather them have it now instead of having it at Infinity War? Imagine if Endgame was even worse than what we got.
Well, we'll get to that eventually.
And before we continue, our friend Joss Whedon, he's not really our friend. He
No,
was
please, he's
actually
not my friend.
he was brought in. Oh, I mean friend, we make fun of him a lot. He was brought in, Craig, to help rewrite some scenes for this movie. So, and I think now that I saw that after I watched the movie, and I feel like now I could see what scenes he might have rewritten. I think I could tell just from his trademark quote unquote humor. But
Yuck.
all right, Craig, now that we talked about all of that, what did that all achieve, all these issues? It only grossed 644.8 million against a budget of 150 to 272.1 million. It got mixed reviews. Well, mixed positive, I guess you could say, as a 6.7 out of 10 IMDb, which is surprising. A 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 54% on Metacritic, and a 2.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Now, Craig, how about you tell me more about what you liked and what you didn't like about this?
What I liked, I mean, it was not a lot.
Well, tell me.
Oof. I'm on the spot here. Probably need a day to study for it to give you a good answer. I mean, I guess the final fight scene was entertaining enough. I really
Is
don't
that
have a
it?
lot.
Is that really
I really
it?
don't have a lot. I mean, I think
Oh,
their
wow.
costumes were better.
Huh.
Something like Frigga's funeral was kind of nice. Oh, the joke where Thor puts Mjolnir on the coat rack. Best part of the movie.
Wow, you're really scraping the bucket down there for
I
that.
really didn't like it because I remember when they came out, and it felt weird because all the Marvel movies up to that point we liked, even if there was varying liking. It's like, yeah, I like that. Maybe I wouldn't watch it as much as, say, The Avengers, but I still liked it enough. This is the
Hmm.
first one, like, wow, I really, because I remember I watched it. I most of the times we used to see these movies twice. Back in we had more time to do this, we would like, see the movie twice.
I don't think I saw
Also,
this twice.
I didn't see it twice either. I was like, I don't want to see that again.
I think we did see it together with Daniel, too.
Yes, because I know he was very excited because he loves Thor.
Again, what a
And I
perfect
remember just like
episode
trying
this
to
would have been.
I remember trying to convince ourselves, like, was this good? No, it wasn't. The point is that I remember almost being shocked how bad it was. Not that I had blind faith in Marvel, but it was like they had a really good stretch of movies without missing for the most
Yeah.
part.
Because again, this
And
came after Iron Man 3, and I love Iron Man 3. We already talked about it. But then this followed that? Ugh.
and the Avengers, last time we saw
Yeah.
Thor, yes.
Disgusting.
They just took everything that was bad about the first one and just
They doubled
decided that's
down.
what we're, yeah, double down, triple down.
Yeah,
And even
because
just the bad stuff, even the stuff that I didn't really like. We focused on how they're basically space. They're not Vikings or gods. They're
they're
just space
aliens.
aliens. They
Yeah.
triple down on that. It's just all the worst things about the first Thor. They tripled down on.
Well, even the first story, we didn't like it, but I feel like it left room for maybe improvement where you could feel like, all right, it was an okay start. It certainly can't get worse, right? And then we have this. I didn't like it. I never liked it. I think a positive, Craig, that you didn't mention. It's under 2 hours. I think that's a positive. You know, this felt pretty long. I watched this today, and I was losing interest. I don't like the chase scene in Asgard, or the Asgard military fighting back with lasers against Malekith's army. I didn't like that at all, because
Oh,
again,
stuff
like you
like that. Like,
said, it's
why are they in
aliens.
spaceships? Like, are they dark elves? How would I know unless you told me? They look like they're aliens. They're in spaceships
They
shooting
look like
lasers.
Prometheus, like the aesthetic, don't they? The alien movie
Um,
Prometheus a little bit.
I
Their
mean, besides the
ship
fact that they're
design, maybe the
pale,
engineer.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't
Yeah,
say
kind
so,
of.
but
Malekith's face a little bit.
I just did not like it.
Yeah, and I think this isn't breaking new ground. Malekith is boring, uninspired, he's generic. The poor actor, whoever played him, there's no personality with his character at all. Nothing to make you fear him or even understand him. He's just stock and he's there.
Well, and it's funny too because I think they tried to create a whole language for the Dark Elves, and they speak it out the entire time in the film, or not the entire time, but most time when they're talking to each other, they're speaking their own language. It's like, why would you put in all this effort? They're trying to make it so realistic that oh, they speak their own language. What
Yeah.
language? Who knows? But they speak their own language, and they look weird. They're definitely aliens. They're in a spaceship. They're in hibernation apparently for thousands of years. God
Yes.
knows why. I did not like the look of them. I don't like the fact that they were space aliens. Then you go to Asgard, and I feel like Asgard did look slightly better
They
visually.
removed some of those flying buildings in the middle of the air. They removed that, but then we're treated to this disgusting CGI battle with the spaceships of Asgard flying around and shooting at things.
It almost like they were embarrassed to embrace the mythological aspect of it.
This is like, yeah, that it is dialed up in this one, the embarrassment.
And it's hard to watch because you feel like do you like what are you trying to do? Are aliens cool, but space gods aren't, or not space gods, Norse gods aren't? Like,
I guess that's what they're thinking. Like, oh yeah, these aliens are more appealing. Even though I think the Viking, I always like Thor because yeah, the mythological connection was always cool. Just have it be like that. You don't need flying ships running around and shooting lasers, and there's a force field around the castle of Asgard that they stop, and then there's 3D hologram technology. I would expect them to be trying to treat her with like crushed berries or something. I don't know. They're village. They're like Vikings.
I, to be honest, I have no answer for that. Why they choose to double down on this?
And of course, Jane Foster. Always a negative in these movies. I don't have anything good to say about her. I really don't. Oh, a positive before we go back to just dunking on this, Craig. I got a chuckle out of me when we were introduced to Selvig, who's just naked at Stonehenge. And in my mind, I was thinking he's incredibly lucky that there aren't kids there. Unless this is an American thing, he would have been put on a list. He would have been arrested and put on a list. That would have been funny to me. He got put on a list by accident. So they kind of explained that it's because Loki was in his mind that he's going crazy. They mentioned it because he said when Darcy comes back, he says, God was in my mind.
Yeah, but you didn't see other people suffer years-long PTSD from Loki.
I guess, well, yeah, because he did it to Barton. Maybe because his
Yeah,
mind is more old and more susceptible. I don't know.
I mean, wouldn't older be better because you're dug in?
Right.
I don't know. And the best part too is how did he break out of? He just took some pills and said, "Oh, I'm done. I'm done being mind controlled
The
by Loki."
script needed him to not be crazy guy running around naked. He needed to help with their sci-fi jargon about interdimensional portals or whatever. The convergence.
Again, it sits so wrong with me because why are we focusing on the science of interdimensional portals? Like, yes, thank you, Neil deGrasse Tyson. We know it's not realistic. We don't need real science mumbo jumbo to explain why portals exist. They just exist. Who cares? You're dealing with Thor, but Norse God. Who cares about why portals may or may not be real? No one cares.
Yeah, this honestly felt like the sci-fi was from a Star Trek episode.
But it's funny, the Star Trek episode where they do reference Greek gods is more interesting than this.
Yeah,
Or
the
Apollo,
in the
the green
original one,
hand.
right?
Yeah, that's more interesting. This is just it's just embarrassed to be that, and they thought this guy was gonna save and basically have a Game of Thrones production into a Marvel movie. There was none of that. And when Frigga dies, and we're like, who's Frigga? Oh, that's Thor's mom, I
So I
guess.
saw people say that that's a highlight of the movie, and I'm gonna go against the grain and say that it's not really memorable. If anything, it kind of slows the movie down because Malekith stabs her, and then Thor's sad, and then Loki's sad. Even though earlier I was thinking, I understand the relationship, right? They had a quick interaction, Frigga and Loki, but then the movie tries to have more of that scene of a sympathy with Loki and Frigga, but Loki is casting like a duplicate that's not really her. It's what his mind is projecting. So the facetious in me was thinking like, well, how do we know that's their true relationship? He could just be making that up to make himself feel better. It doesn't really add anything, you know?
Yeah.
It could just be his projection. We're like, oh, Loki, you're such a great son, such a good boy. It doesn't. It's his projection. She visited him down there and they had that talk. Okay, sure, but it's his projection.
Oh, also, why are we trying to humanize Loki after all that he did? That's what bothered me too, because I think they were really trying to feed into the fan hype of Loki. What Loki did in the first Thor in the Avengers, I'm not sure you can easily redeem that. But they try to play it off like in terms of how Loki's perceived, like, oh, Loki, you just killed a couple people, who cares? Well, whatever.
Yeah, they
Like, I
do
don't know,
kind of
man.
oddly downplay it.
Not just Loki being Loki,
He
our little
tried to
Loki.
enslave all of Earth because he feels like he should be king.
Gods will be
And
gods.
they slap his wrist. Okay, so this is the thing I wanted to mention earlier, Craig. Loki was supposed to die for good in this, and then the test screenings, the infamous test screenings for Marvel, they changed it, and now we get Loki still in the MCU for whatever reason. Okay, this is what it says. Loki was originally intended to die in the film, however, after test audiences did not believe he was actually dead, Marvel Studios decided to alter the character's ending. Which, to be fair, I guess they did that to themselves with Loki faking his death in the first Thor movie because he's a trickster. He tricks people.
And to be honest, I did, as bad as this movie was, it did give us Loki's nice death scene in Infinity War, so I'll let it slide. Granted, you wouldn't know this at the time, but I like
Yeah,
when Thanos
yeah.
snapped his neck, so I have to
Well,
snap your neck. I have
I.
to break your neck.
I have to break your neck. It's just the way it is. I'm just a messenger.
I'm just the messenger.
But I think if they made it more ambiguous with his death, instead of they have the tease, oh, it's really Loki as Odin talking to Thor at the end. Loki's the king of Asgard.
Well, see, because they did that, now I want to know how exactly did he overthrow Odin? Odin's not some schmuck. I kind of wish they had a end credit scene or just something telling you how Loki overthrew Odin, had him trapped on Earth for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I wish they did that because at that point, if you're going to go all in on Loki surviving, show me how he's able to outwit Odin because I would want to see that.
Well,
Odin's
that
supposed to
was
be the wisest of the gods.
Yeah, and that was definitely a reshoot because, like I said, it was, the test audiences didn't like it because they thought, like, is he really dead? He tricked us before. Again, I think they should have just made it. The only end credit should have been, I guess. Well, maybe they could just had this at the end of the movie. It doesn't even have to be an end credit scene. Maybe that could be the end. Thor comes back to Asgard, and then we see Loki dispose of Odin and take Odin's form. Instead of seeing the end credit, which I did watch on Disney Plus, Thor returning, and then that frost creature is running around in London.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also saw the mid-credit scene with the Asgardians giving the Infinity
Volstagg and
Stone,
stuff.
the Aether to the Collector, which was directed by James Gunn.
I was wondering too, why on earth they give it to the collector? There's not one person you could trust with it than the collector.
It is not wise to keep two infinity stones so close together.
Like, of all the people Odin knows throughout the cosmos, he has to give it to this creep.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Because at the time, I guess this was a change during Guardians of the Galaxy. There's the infamous story that recently came out that the MCU didn't know what to do with the Infinity Stones at all. They didn't know. So James Gunn said he made up on the spot the background of the Infinity Stones that we get that are introduced in Guardians of the Galaxy, like the movie versions of it, because they're called the gems in the comics, to my knowledge, and they're all different colors. I think the Power Stone in Guardians of the Galaxy was supposed to be red, but they changed it to purple, so this could be red, the Aether.
Well, Odin did have that line where he mentioned normally it's a stone, but this one's fluid.
Yeah.
Unless that was I don't know, a VDR, or they reshot
ADR.
that.
I'd have to look at the scene again to see when he said it. If it's the back of his head and Thor's reacting, it's ADR 100%.
I think they were showing the book, so it might have been.
It might have been, yeah, 100%. I hated that book, by the way. Minor nitpick. It's interacting, it's showing. I hated it. But yeah, James Gunn essentially made up on the spot the origin of the Infinity Stones. So
Well,
I,
granted, it's not like he did much. I mean, that's I wouldn't say one to one with the comics, but it's close enough where,
it
uh,
works.
yeah.
It works.
Well, and you don't need to like go into deep explanation as to why, it's they were there. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, just make it so it makes sense.
So we mentioned Malekith, how awful he was, and he's basically barely spoke English throughout the entire movie. What about his right-hand man, Algrim?
Curse. He turns
Yes,
into
Curse.
Curse. So, okay, here comes me mentioning Marvelton Alliance again. Curse is in the game, and he looks nothing like how he does in this movie. And another negative that I was going to mention that you just reminded me, I hate this. I know it's the dark world, so everything is just muted. It looks gross. It looks disgusting. It's like someone smeared grease all over the camera, and everything's like tinged. At least the other Thor movie was a little bit more vibrant, a little more color. Even some of the other MCU movies, there's more color than this. And I know it's the dark world, but you can't pretend to have your movie be super dark when there's stupid humor undercutting things. There's goofy characters, Darcy the intern and her intern, Selvig being introduced naked at Stonehenge.
I have two thoughts to follow that up. Like, yeah,
Like,
keep cooking.
well, I don't remember much. This movie's so forgettable.
Well, we're talking about Curse, and he looks nothing like his Marvel Ultimate Alliance self, and just looks ugly. Like, I know you could say it's a comic book outfit, but you could make it a little more interesting. He just looks ugly. Like he's got the mask where the little, I guess, tusks grow out. It looks disgusting.
Yeah, well,
And
he's like
it's not even
red
unique,
orange,
too.
right? He's red orange in the comics, right? And he's a guy.
Well, yeah, I believe he's also an elf.
Okay.
I don't know. He always works with Malekith.
Right, okay. So you keep cooking, then I have a question for you.
So actually, I was going to tell you, Colin,
Oh.
did you know that there might not actually be such a thing as dark elves?
There might not?
So in the comics there are, but there's conflicting reports about, because for those of you who don't know, we don't really have many surviving written down tales about Norse mythology. All we really got was Christian missionaries writing down the stories from the people, and I think there's only like a few handful of surviving tales that they wrote down. So we don't really have a compendium of all these texts like we do for Greek mythology.
Right.
And in that text, there's debate because they mention some words that you could say might mean the same thing or mean something different. They mentioned Dark Elves and Svartalheim, which is also called the Dark World in this movie, but they're saying those might be similar words that actually mean dwarf and Nidavellir. So Dark Elves might
Oh,
not actually
really?
even be a thing.
That was that
'Cause
place
there's-
in Infinity War, Nidavellir, right?
Yeah, well, of course they screw that up either.
Well,
But the
yeah.
point is, the Dark World might not even be a real thing in Norse mythology. It might have been just the people mistranslating, or because again, if we don't have a surviving compendium of all these stories, all we have is a few texts where we get all this information from.
Yeah.
And Svartalheim might not even be real. And Dark Elves, they're debating because these are Christian missionaries, not mercenaries, missionaries writing these things down.
Interesting.
And they were saying that they might have added dark elves as a way to kind of their way of understanding their stories in terms of Christianity. Where like, oh, the light elves are more like angels, dark elves are more like demons.
Interesting. See, I was going to ask you about comic Malekith and this movie's justice, quote unquote, towards that character. I'm going to assume that it's not one-to-one, Craig.
If it's a Venn diagram, there's no overlap.
Really? None?
He's barely a character in the movie. I mean,
Well,
he's a
that's true.
schemer. He uses magic. I don't remember him using magic in this movie.
No, they use like technology, it seems. Like to transform his right-hand man into Curse, he gives him like a pill he can crush in his hand. And then he transforms into that disgusting creature.
So yeah, there's nothing in common.
Really? Okay, so tell the audience and me the comic adaptation, or just who Malekith is in the comics.
Well, he's more of a schemer. He can use magic. There's a recent storyline where he got an army and tried to invade all the 9 realms at once. He uses magic. He has, what's his name?
What?
Curse as his
I wonder
muscle.
what he looks like in the comics.
Well, that's the one thing I guess is accurate. He's a dark elf, but his face is like split right down the middle where he looks like a dark elf's and a light elf's face. He often works with Loki.
Interesting.
You remember, he was in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. He gets the Casket of Ancient Winters. He's vulnerable to iron.
Can't say I remember that if I'm being honest.
Well, it was only in one episode he appeared in, but
Let me look up his comic book appearance. I keep getting the movie.
yikes.
Let me see. Okay, so half his face is blue and then half of it's black. So this movie did try to have that, but because when Thor blasts him in the face with the lightning by Mia Mia. I hate that joke, by the way. Mia Mia. That seems like Joss Whedon wrote that from the rewrites.
Ugh. And the other bad thing about Malekith is that he's not even that really threatening of a villain. He basically is getting beaten up by Thor's mom, who we never
In this
really know how
movie.
powerful she
Yeah,
is, yes. But I don't know. I feel like getting beaten up by someone's mom is usually embarrassing. Granted, she can be incredibly powerful, but I just feel like getting beaten up by an old lady is usually more make you the butt of a joke.
Well, yeah. So good movies are able to establish the threats of villains. So you'll be like, oh my God, this guy is loose or woman. And you have to kind of fear the villain. And this is just basic storytelling 101 in any medium. Comic books, movies, TV shows, pop-up books, but you just can't
Is that from
have...
Transformers?
Yeah.
Coloring areas, sections, pop-up pictures. It's a lot of fun.
You just can't have the protagonist's mom just beat up the main villain, because then how are you supposed to fear them? And I know he has the muscle, Craig. He's got the muscle, but then Loki takes him down, and it's just... He's not threatening, and there's multiple ways to show threatening, but he's not threatening in any way. He's just weird and
But
forgettable.
the people who are going to counter us saying, well, some villains aren't strong, they can have muscle. That is very true. But he's neither smart nor physically intimidating. He is absolutely nothing. I don't even know why he's the leader of the Dark Elves.
There
He
has
doesn't
to
seem
be a
very...
trait that he can... Okay, like the Riddler in the newest The Batman. He obviously even acknowledges that he's not going to fight Batman in a fist fight. It's his knowledge, his strength is his brain.
Yes, outwitting Batman dancing circles around about the entire movie.
Yeah. There are ways that are clever and even obviously you can show this, and this movie doesn't do any of those.
And then after he gets beaten up by Thor's mom, Thor blasts him in the face, then he has to be carried and he's like limping out of there. So Thor one shots him in the face and then he loses the fight. I mean, he has to be carried
He
away.
He retreats.
Yeah, so if Thor can dispose of him so easily, why is he the villain?
Yeah. Good question. I have no idea.
Because they're even trying to say like, oh, well, there's some cut scenes. I don't know what scenes that were cut that could help fix this. He was not smart. He was not a conniving villain. He was not a master strategist. All he said was, we're woken. Let's go find it. We found it. Okay, now I'm going to take over the universe. That was I don't know what more backstory you could do to make that better.
You'd have to redo everything, honestly.
No, exactly.
Reshoots. Yeah, no reshoots can save that.
Because they're trying to say, oh, if only you saw the Taylor cut. Let's release the Taylor cut. Then we could have liked Malekith. I don't think there's anything you could do to save him in this movie.
Well, you mentioned
Like
that, Craig. The Taylor cut. Did you look at the Wikipedia?
What about it?
Alan Taylor, the director, he expressed interest in creating a director's cut similar to Zack Snyder's Justice League, though he observed that Marvel was likely not interested in it.
Well, why would they? I mean, it's not like the Snyder Cut where it was like the last hurrah of the Snyderverse. Marvel's still going and they probably don't care. Maybe 20 years from now, 20th anniversary of the movie, they'll release the Taylor Cut as like the way to make some extra cash because they're hemorrhaging money, but I can't imagine why they'd ever really want to do it.
Yeah. So I saw something that says some possible cut backstory. Again, I asked ChatGPT this, so this might be speculation. Take it with a grain of salt. There might have been some deleted scenes that hinted at Malekith losing family and having deeper grudges against Bor, who is Odin's father in the prologue.
Who cares?
But these are removed, leaving him thinly written.
How would that have helped?
I don't know. I guess...
I'm not trying to attack
I
you,
don't
but like,
know.
how would that have helped? How is this helping?
Earth's mightiest houses helping!
Okay, your family died, so what? I imagine a lot of people lost their families. I mean, didn't you start the war?
I guess.
I mean, wasn't this whole thing he started the war to take over and kill all life in the universe? You can't give me this sob story about your family dying when you want to wipe out most of existence.
That's true.
I don't know, man. Like, has people written a movie before?
So, Craig, in front of me, I asked ChatGPT to bring up or tell me some of the deleted scenes that are confirmed. So, there are sources on these from comicbookmovies.com. If people don't think that's a source, Oh well, who cares? Let's just talk about it. So, one scene, Malekith's backstory slash personal loss. There's a scene set in his home realm in which Malekith remembers his children and wife bathing there who were lost to him. Also memories of action by Bor that contributed to the ancient grievance between Malekith's people and Asgard. This would have given his motivations more emotional weight. Extended Odin slash Bor grievance dialogue. An extended conversation between Malekith and Odin in which they discuss in more detail what caused the feud going back to Bor's reign. This would have helped contextualize Malekith's hatred of Asgard, or for Asgard. More of Malekith slash Algrim. Who is that again? Oh, the lieutenant.
That's
okay.
Curse.
Okay. Scenes that more fully explore the relationship between Malekith and his lieutenant Algrim. This material could have deepened Algrim's role and connected to Malekith's character. Fantastical, quote-unquote, wonder slash children and magical realism on Earth. The convergence causes weird magical events on Earth that kids would be exploring. Children wandering around, strange phenomenon. Some of this was shown in trailers, but cut or scaled back into streamline things. Scenes with the Warriors 3 slash Hogan's home world. More flesh for some supporting Asgardians. Example, Hogan defending his world, seeing where some of the Warriors 3 characters come from, glimpse of their lives outside the battle. Beat slash line slash smaller moments. Lines are small emotional beats from Malekith about his loss, additional dialogue between Jane Foster or others about the Aether, more time spent explaining or exploring its nature. Kids spinning the cement truck and dropping bottles in a stairwell as part of Earth's affected weirdness. Interesting.
I don't know how that would have saved the movie, I'm being honest.
I don't think so either. It was probably cut for a reason, if I'm being honest.
Like, who'd want to see that?
Yeah, I think the only way to fix Malekith was to go back to the drawing board, Craig.
I mean, I would say for the whole movie, but only so much you can do.
Yeah. Well, what amazes me is that how Feige, he sees what's pitched to him for... I don't know if back then he would pick a villain, or maybe he'd bring in screenwriters to pitch ideas to him about who they could potentially use for a villain in a sequel. So I don't know. This is just me speculating, but he sees what is pitched. And even if you take a sentence description of Malekith, it is still so generic, his plan. So even if it's a log line, which is like a sentence or two, describing what your script or your movie's about, could he not just smell how generic it is?
I have no idea. This is why I don't really believe that, like I said many times, that they're not as smart as they think they were. Well, I also saw too, I think someone wanted to use Hela for the second Thor movie, but that Marvel committee I mentioned shut it down because they said women toys don't sell to young boys.
What episode did you mention? Was that the Captain America one you mentioned that to me?
I think it was Iron Man 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds right. Interesting.
Which again, they end up going to Hela, but even then, I don't know what she would have done differently.
Yeah, I don't know. This movie just ain't that good, Craig. Malekith is just forgettable. He is terrible. Now, dare I say, is he the worst villain in the MCU? He is somehow worse than Whiplash.
Well, Whiplash at least could say, well,
he's more
we had
memorable.
Justin Hammer.
Yeah, and Justin Hammer was there too. Malekith is just weak. He's not imposing. He's forgettable. He's generic.
I feel like there's got to be someone else out there, but he really is up there for the worst.
Because I'm trying to think of the other villains, like even in the newer movies. I'm trying to remember. What's it called? The Eternals? I think Cersei or Icarus was the villain at the end where he fights them. As of now, up until this point, let's just say that he is the de facto worst villain. And I think everyone would agree with that. We're not exactly saying something controversial.
No, not at all.
This just in, the Unbiased Opinion says that Malekith is the best MCU villain ever. He's in the SSSSS tier.
I've seen videos where people have the SpongeBob news fish talking about news. Breaking news!
Yeah. It's not... What's that fish's name? Because I know which one you're talking about. It's the live action looking fish with its mouth moves. Perch Perkins is the reporter.
I don't know the fish's name, to be honest. I just know people do the voice and you know who it is.
Yeah.
Oh, Colin, remember the things that we like? I didn't mind the
Runtime?
Captain America cameo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's like, you want me to talk about you want me to say like a rousing speech of justice and truth?
That was a nice surprise in the theater.
Yeah, I remember that.
Then the movie started playing again.
Yeah, it was a nice distraction for 5 seconds, and then you're transported back to this movie. I think it was so weird, the plan scene where it's like with most movies where they're planning it, you see the planning, and then it cuts to them actually executing it, then it cuts back to them planning, describing what they want to do. I think it would have been better if they just laid out the plan through and through, and then they execute it.
Yeah, it was really weird the way they shot that. It was almost like a heist movie where they talk about the plan, they kind of
Yeah.
interweave it because it's usually a complicated plan. This is the least complicated plan or heist I've ever seen in a movie, and they're
Yeah.
really trying to hype it up.
You just distract guards and you commandeer a ship and then have another ship fly parallel below it and then jump onto that ship and then go to this crevice in a mountain.
It wasn't anything special. And I know we've talked about this before. I hate the fact they're on flying ship. There can't be something mystical about it. Like in Lord of the Rings, ships can fly. If they try to make it seem more magical and mystical, this is just, oh, it's a spaceship.
What ships are flying in Lord of the Rings? What did I miss?
Well, not in the movies, but in the larger
Oh, okay,
legendarium.
okay.
Erendiel's on a flying ship. Point is, he's not going to explain to you. It's actually powered by a very small warp reactor that powers the ship that
Yeah,
causes it to
if
fly.
it looked like Mario's cruise ship in Super Mario 64 or in Melee, if it looked like that, it would be acceptable.
Well, that's more what like Erendiel's ship looks like. Then you got this junk in Thor 1 and 2 where you got these spaceships flying around.
I think that's what the ships in Marvel Alliance at the Asgard level looked like too. They looked like just Viking ships in space that had the oars moving to simulate
That could fly.
flying.
I mean,
yeah,
that's it.
yeah, that's all you have to do. Yeah, that was so strange, the plan sequence. Because even in Avengers Endgame, they laid out the plan and then they executed it. They didn't cut back and forth. Well, structurally that wouldn't work for Endgame anyway. But I don't know, it wasn't done well in this at all.
It's just very, very weird.
And not well done. You forgot to add that.
Weird, not well done.
Well,
it was bad.
This is something, Craig, we did not mention in Iron Man 3. Phase 2 started the trend of characters losing limbs, particularly their arms, as in reference to Star Wars. So Iron Man 3, didn't he cut off some guy's arm?
I think it's the end of the fight where he chopped off Killian's hand.
Yeah, he did. And then it regrew back. In this one, there's the fake out where Loki cuts off Thor's arm, or hand, rather. His wrist, whatever. And I don't know, we forgot to mention that phase 2 has that throughout the whole movie, or throughout the whole series.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that again because I don't know if you remember, but every year Marvel used to go to Comic-Con. Now they go to D23, or they're probably too ashamed to show their stuff now, but they used to go to Comic-Con and they would show off their movie, and obviously this was shown off at Comic-Con. And I remember the leaks that came out. They were saying that Thor lost his hand because Loki chopped it off. We're like, what? Thor's gonna lose his hand? Then we're looking at the trailers again, like, oh my god, where does Thor lose his hand? How is he gonna fight Malekith without a hand?
Did they really show that at Comic-Con?
Yes, because I remember the reports that came out that Thor lost his hand.
Right. Why would they show that? That should be a surprise.
Well, it didn't affect the movie at all. It was a very good bait and switch.
Yeah. But even so, like, again, I think we always mention this. Whenever there's the people who are really into it and don't care about spoilers will read everything under the sun about spoilers. So I'm sure most casual audiences didn't hear about that, where, oh, Thor might lose his hands. But to the fanboys and fangirls, were their hearts racing up until that scene where he gets his arm cut off? When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? Is it this scene?
I mean, to be honest, I probably forgot about it 'cause people often report what they see at Comic-Con, so that is one thing. And by the time the movie came out, I think I forgot because it was like how many months had passed. And
yeah, this came out in November 2013, and Comic-Con was, I haven't followed up on a Comic-Con honestly probably since.
it's usually like mid or end of July.
Yeah, it's always at the end of July. I think the last one I was really hyped for. Remember when Godzilla King of the Monsters, they debuted their trailer at Comic-Con 2018. And then the previous Comic-Con, someone recorded very poor footage of an Infinity War trailer, and I was hyped. That was awesome.
I know what it's like to lose. Feel so desperately that you're right.
Well, actually, I think I found it and I shared it with you guys.
And I downloaded it too to my computer. So
I still have it on my computer.
yeah, so do I, because the hype was so real. But yeah,
Marvel, the control they had over us, and we broke free.
we also got older too.
Yeah, true. I mean, it was just we were into it because people will say, "Oh, are you just bitter?" Not bitter, but we were fans, and then we were still fans at the time. Now, when this movie came out, but like how they've just ruined all goodwill among most of their fans.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh well.
So I know she didn't have a big role in the movie, but I feel like I've said this every time I mention Thor. He marries Sif in the mythology.
Yes.
I don't know, and he has kids, so I don't know
Yes.
why they like to focus on Jane Foster so much. She's boring. She's not a good character. They have zero chemistry. Focus on his actual wife.
Yeah, I'm sure I said this verbatim in our Thor 1 review from a couple months ago. He looks so uncomfortable around her. It seems like he's trying to riz her up, as the kids say, but she's just too guarded or something. I don't know. She doesn't look like she puts up with it. She looks fake doing it, is what I'm saying. They don't really bounce off each other.
And sometimes like it's like opposites attract. They say that's something the kids say or adults say. And I don't see it all. She's supposed to like, I'm Miss Science Girl. Space gods aren't real. And Thor's like, I'm a space god. I'm real, but I don't understand science because I'm a dumb brute. Blah blah blah. They have absolutely nothing in common. Because we mentioned Pepper and Iron Man. They have very similar personalities. They may not. Obviously, she's not a super genius, but I think they get along well. Cap and
It's a
Peggy,
big bunny. Forget about it.
It's a big bunny. Relax about it.
like Cap and Peggy, they had that spark there where they're kind of similar people. You can see why they like each other. This is just complete opposites.
It's really just attraction. She thinks Thor is a smoke show with his giant abs, his abs and shoulders sponsored by Gear.
That's where dude wipes.
But yeah, well, that's something they did in the comics too for a little bit, right? Jane Foster, early on, she's a character from the comics, and I guess they did that maybe to humanize him, to have a human love interest. I don't know. I don't know what they're.
They dumped that stuff. So that was the Stan Lee Jack Kirby run where they had Jane Foster and him turning into Donald Blake.
Yes.
And they dropped that because like this is stupid.
Yeah. Lady Sif, not only is she the wife in the mythology, but she's just a more relatable character to Thor. She's an Asgardian.
Well, that obviously. But you think a Thor,
She's
a guy
a warrior.
Yes. Thor, so between these characters, Thor's more known for being the brute, the fighter, the champion of the people. You think someone more similar to that would relate to Thor, because Odin was seen as more the schemer. He was like kings would worship because he was the wise guy, and Thor was more of the brute that warriors could relate to. You think a warrior wife or someone like Sif would relate to him better as opposed to boring science woman.
Yeah, they could not
I
be.
know you can say the mythology's not the same as the comic character, but my point still stands. They have nothing in common.
Yeah. I think also another negative, they give the Warriors 3 nothing to do. And it's really a shame because this is really the first Thor movie is the most action they get, and it just gets diminished by the movie until the point where by Thor 4, Sif has an arm missing, and there's a joke about her missing an arm.
So I have a hot take, Colin.
Yeah.
I don't care about the Warriors 3.
I know, but I'm just including Sif in there because she's from the mythology.
It's not that they're horrible characters. I just feel with all these mythological characters, you'd want to stick to people that were in the mythology. Don't be making people
So
up.
were they in the comics too, or were they invented for the movie?
No, they were in the comics. They were some of Thor's buddies. Me personally, I'm not sure how much I'd want to introduce them. Like Thor has several brothers that they don't mention at all.
Right.
Or other characters like Baldur the Brave, Tyr.
Yes. Valkyrie, where she lost her sword in Marvelton Alliance. You gotta find
She's
it.
not technically a character, but the point is,
Okay.
the point is, there's other Norse characters they could pull from, like Hod, Hermod. They just don't pick the best ones.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, just imagine like this. Imagine you're a big fan of Greek mythology, and instead of having any of the well-known gods, they give you a bunch of made-up characters that you don't care about, as opposed to, Zeus, Poseidon, Hades. They give you...
Who's the one that flew too close to the sun? Is that Hermes?
No.
No, Hermes is the messenger god, right?
I know Icarus with his wax
Icarus.
wings.
Okay, yeah. He flew too close to the sun.
Because this movie has Tyr in it, one of Thor's brothers, but I think he was only in it for a brief scene.
Right.
It's like, gee, I wonder what Thor's brother would have to say about this besides Loki, because Thor had older brothers besides Loki, but the movie didn't seem to want to focus on that. I guess the one major character we didn't talk too much about was Odin, but he was fine. I mean, I like that he had his ravens, I guess. That was cool.
Yeah, I forgot about him. Because usually Anthony Hopkins, he does a good job with what is given to him. Even in Transformers 5, where he's just like some bumbling old man who gets capped by Megatron.
You wretched human.
Megatron sees the first human on the battlefield, has nothing to do with it, and he just shoots him.
No, Colin, it's been a while since I've seen that movie. They look like he was walking around aimlessly, and Megatron just goes out of nowhere and shoots him.
He wasn't facing Megatron either. I think he was walking away, and Megatron just blasts him. He just blasts some like dementia patient.
You'll have to see it.
But yeah, Anthony Hopkins is Odin, always a bright spot. He's always good.
No, obviously, Colin, as you mentioned, we didn't like this movie, but also a lot of other people did not like this movie.
Yes, this one is always regarded as one of the worst, especially at the time. This was like lumped in with Iron Man 2 and The Incredible Hulk. But since we've been doing these rewatches, you got to put some respect on The Incredible Hulk. You can trash Iron Man 2 because that objectively wasn't very good. But I would still take Iron Man 2 on its worst day over this.
Yes. And only mention the negative reception because we see how much there is. Okay, we did a horrible job with the first Thor movies. We got to do a huge course correction, as we'll see when we cover Thor Ragnarok.
Right. Well, the funny thing is too that I mean I don't know how this got positive reviews if I'm being honest.
I think it was Marvel bias. People, like how I mentioned, I was almost shocked how bad this was.
Right, you're trying to convince yourself otherwise.
Usually, you come to these Marvel movies, you're supposed to like them and enjoy them. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Thor, and I was like, wow, this is actually really bad.
But it was shocking at the time because everything for the most part, and I'm sure maybe there are people that really like Iron Man too. I'm sure. But the contrast between the good movies and this was pretty noticeable. It wasn't like they were all okay-ish and then you could pick it's like a coin flip which one was better. Like the other ones were objectively just better than this. And that's what made it so much more noticeable in how bad it was. I don't think we'll ever get 20 years this movie's been out, the 20th anniversary. Was this ever underrated? I don't think that'll ever happen. I really don't. I think you have to have people trying to get some views on YouTube. Just say some contrarian takes.
Yeah, but that stuff always wears thin after a while. Like people who are contrarians, you don't unless you keep upping the ante, people don't stick around.
Yeah. And again, we're not breaking new ground. I don't think anyone really likes this movie. Unless there is someone out there who is watching and listening to this, Craig, where they say, hey, Thor the Dark World, that's my favorite movie ever. My favorite Marvel movie. I would love to hear why, but I don't think those people exist. But if they do, we're open ears. We're all ears, rather.
So, Colin, one last thing before we wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
I have wondered for years because I haven't been able to be given a straight answer. So, you know, at the beginning of the movie where they teleport the ether away from Malekith.
To the Dark World, yes.
No. They're in the Dark World. And they take the ether away from them.
Oh, yes.
Where is that? I've checked the Marvel wiki
Where
these
the ether
nerds
is?
keep track of everything. Yes, when Jane finds it.
Is that not the Dark World she gets transported to?
No.
Oh,
I haven't been able to find the location of
Okay.
where they transported it to.
Let me ask ChatGPT.
They might say it's in the Dark World as well, but I know it's not because they took it from them and they wouldn't put it in the place where they are hiding.
Svartal film secret portal area, though in the film it's presented as an anomalous site on Earth.
Well, no, it's not on Earth. Jean gets teleported there. It wasn't on Earth.
That's what ChatGPT said. I don't know.
The point is, the movie didn't tell you where they hid. Not that it matters, but I've been wondering for years, where on Earth did they hide that thing that no one could find it? And we still don't have an answer.
So when you say where on Earth, are you saying that as the expression or where on Earth?
The expression.
So Marvel Wiki doesn't even have that answer?
No one has the answer where it is.
Really? What is,
'Cause I'm
okay,
wondering,
do you have it up? Can you just read it to me what it says?
So there's no place that says where she went. I've looked up, okay, where's the ether to try to see, okay, maybe I could track the location of the ether throughout history. That would tell me where it is, and they don't have it. They just say that they took it away from them. They don't know where it was.
Okay, so it says Foster is swallowed up by one of them and transported to an unknown planet. She finds herself in a dark chasm where a strange vault is located. Upon touching the vault, a red substance, the aether, emerges from it and infests her body. Passing out, Foster is teleported back to Earth, waking up 5 hours later. Interesting. So yeah, they don't even have an answer. Unknown planet.
And I know it's not the end of the world, but I've just been wondering for years, with all of the books that come out, all the background material they write, they couldn't give you one place where this could be. It couldn't be any just obscure place. There's no name for it. We don't know where it is.
I know it's not the Dark World, but it visually looked like the Dark World, which didn't help.
Probably just reuse some assets. I don't know.
Why couldn't it have been like an ice planet or something where it really would contrast? Imagine a white background against the red ether.
I mean, Niflheim could have been a great place to hide it. It's like so cold there.
Yeah. Good observation, Craig. That actually went over my head because I was like kind of barely paying attention. This felt like a chore watching.
It did. But I remember because when the movie came out, I remember asking, did I miss something? Where did it go? Asked you, asked Daniel. No one seemed to know. I looked online at the time. I couldn't find an answer. And now rewatching this, I was like, well, I haven't been able to get my answer all those years ago. Let me look again. And I still don't have an answer. I'm going to die without knowing where it was.
Maybe that was in a deleted scene.
Oh, if only we got the Taylor cut. He would explain where it went.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Poor movie
Now
making.
I'm the biggest release the Taylor cut guy now because I want to know where the ether was hidden.
Someone asked Kevin Feige at D23 where that location Jane was transported to.
You know he has no idea.
Oh, I know that because he doesn't plan anything.
Although it would be funny. Just okay, you know what, Colin? Next D23, I'm going. I'm going to wait outside for days or weeks or whatever it takes. I'll lose my job. I'll do whatever it takes to get an answer from Kevin Feige.
Yeah, you have to like hide in a secure bathroom that only they're allowed to go in. You just like emerge from the supply closet. Kevin, I got an important question.
Kidnap him. Tell me where it is. I'm hiding in the trunk of his car. Like I knock. You ever see Trunk Monkey?
Yes, of course I heard the Trunk Monkey, the commercials.
I take the Trunk Monkey out of the car. around though, hiding in his trunk. I come out and beat him over the head with a pipe. I drag him and I demand to know where the ether was hidden.
Well, in case anyone doesn't remember those, well, I didn't even know what it was for. What they're advertising. This guy would just he would press a button, then the trunk would open, the monkey would come out, or people are trying to break into a car, and the monkey would come out, and he had like a condo in the trunk.
He had a giant metal pipe.
He'd pretty brutal. He had a bat or a pipe, and he'd hit people over the head. And then there's one trunk monkey commercial where he grabs the incapacitated guy, he throws him off a bridge.
The Trunk Monkey Theft Retrieval System. Because sometimes getting your car back is simply not enough. Another revolutionary idea you'll only find at Suburban Auto Group, pending approval by Department of Agriculture.
Well, the best part is that, so the guy stole the car, and the trunk monkey's like, hey, wait a minute, some guy stole this car, so when the guy's not looking, he emerges from the trunk and beats him over the head with a pipe. Then he starts driving the car, and that's when he goes to the bridge and disposes of the body.
Yeah, I remember just the ending shot, him just throwing the body off the bridge.
Yeah, does he look over to make sure the body hit the water?
Yeah, he made sure to hear the splash. I'll make sure to include that in this video, just so people can know what we're talking about, because that's like lost media, it feels like.
Like, what are these two like schizophrenic people talking about monkeys in trunks and beating people up?
Was it insurance? They were like car insurance? What were they selling?
I have no idea.
It had nothing to do with a monkey emerging and like essentially killing people.
Your monkey hitman.
The mafia monkey.
What made those videos too special was that back then in YouTube, you could show people funny videos. Now you can't show people funny videos on YouTube anymore. They're all deleted. Anything that's remotely fun is deleted off the internet forever and ever. So stuff like that reminds you of the good old days of the internet.
Yeah, that is true. The trunk monkey. So, Craig, before we wrap it up, just give me and the audience just a 1 sentence, 2 sentence description of what you thought about the movie and would you recommend it?
It's not good. Of course I wouldn't recommend it.
It's not good, that's it? That's all you got to say?
I mean, I guess if you weren't paying attention throughout the entire hour-long review, but yeah, it's not good. It's not a good movie. This was a victim of production issues, as a lot of these movies are these days. It was not saved in post-production, unfortunately.
If anything, it was probably made worse post-production.
That's even possible.
But yeah, it's not good. Definitely right now in our MCU tier list that I don't make, and I probably should start making soon, I'd put it in the F tier. And maybe the highest it will ever be is the D tier. And maybe when we get like Thor Love and Thunder now, I think, is this better than that? Maybe. Probably, yes.
Well, there's different levels of bad. There's just a bad movie all around, and there's movies that do harm to the characters and the franchise.
So maybe I'll put this in the D tier for now. Maybe, can there be like a D minus tier?
Usually the tiers are ranked, so like in the D tier, this would be like the lowest ranked
okay,
D tier
that's
movie.
fair. Yeah. So this will be in the D tier for me. And I don't think it'll ever move up. Well, I don't think. I know it's never going to move up on my list. Would you say the same?
I mean, this is the first time I saw it in at least 10 years. I don't play this. I hope I have another 10-year hiatus.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to watch this again, if I'm being honest. And then maybe if there's a movie, like when we cover Endgame. Oh, yeah, that happened in Thor the Dark World. I completely forgot about that movie. I'll probably get that.
Even though you just saw it, a couple months ago.
But Craig, with all that being said, this has been the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm Craig.
And we will see you next time.
The Trunk Monkey Theft Retrieval System.